Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And welcome in to the riskiest, most dangerous segment in all of sports media. The only show in America that actually puts statistics next to our predictions every single Wednesday. It's Write That Down here, the Purple Daily edition. We also have the OG edition on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd and the Score North YouTube channel. You can also find this time of year Judd's hockey show, laying the wild season to rest officially. Time of death.
Yep.
Whatever time last night. No playoffs.
11-something our time.
We've got Flagrant Howls, and there's going to be, I'm getting some steam that we might have NBA Board of Governors ownership-related stuff this week. There might be an update on that. Ant dropped 50, so Flagrant Howls is on fire this week. Judd and I are going to record this week. And the Score North Twin Show. Twins are off to a super hot start. You can find the new Score North Twin Show YouTube channel, which we just launched about a month ago, and Declan pumping out a bunch of extra Twins content. So check out the family of Score North podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Before we jump into these Write That Down predictions and explain how this works, a shout out to our friends at Quick Trip, the official gas station and convenience store of Purple Daily, Judd.
And that's because whatever you need, gasoline, there's a quality gasoline guarantee, maybe a snack, or perhaps dinner. You know what? Quick Trip's got it for you, and that gives me an opportunity to talk about Quick Trip and all of their chicken choices: fried chicken, chicken tenders, roasted whole chicken. Put that chicken mano a mano against the competition, and guess what? Quick Trip is going to win Prepared Fresh Daily. We're including boneless wings too, so if you're looking for something for dinner or just a snack for during the game that you're going to go home and watch, Quick Trip is the place for you to go. For instance, fried chicken bone-in, 2 or 8 piece. As I said, prepared fresh daily, hand-breaded, absolutely delicious. So make Quick Trip your one-stop shop for almost everything you need.
Amen. We also have a Mel Kiper 4.0 with trades coming up on this show.
Mel.
So put your mock draft seatbelt on for that one.
Right before we flipped the mics on, I was just catching the first 2 or 3 minutes of Greeny, and Greeny was jacked up for a Mel Kiper mock. And then Hembo comes in with cold water. It's like, oh, what a classic Jets fan to get super excited about a mock draft. Hembo, come on, man. It's Kiper season. It's mock draft season. And when you're a Jets and a Vikings or any other fan, we get excited about mock drafts, okay? This is a fun time of year.
Yeah, you know what? Don't buzzkill. If people are into mock drafts in your life and you aren't, don't buzzkill their fun. If people are into professional wrestling this time of year, don't buzzkill people's fun, okay?
I'm on a mission to find someone in the Twins locker room who watches WWE. I've asked 4 people, and they've all just been like, "No, I don't."
Do you watch wrestling? Hey, Royce.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you going around doing?
Hey, Pablo. Hey, do you like wrestling?
Louis Varland wrestled in real life, and he said he started wrestling because he knew who Brock Lesnar was. Like, that was a big influence for him, but he didn't watch WWE. Hey. So I was like, God bless.
Hey, Carlos. Carlos, can I ask you a question? I just got a quick question.
Napoleon Dynamite?
Who do you think the Intercontinental Champion's going to be at SummerSlam? Huh?
There's got to be sort of a laid-back, tubby guy or something who enjoys it, right?
That's a stereotype I don't appreciate. Okay,
There's got to be a laid-back, tubby. You know what? Some stereotypes are accurate and allowed, and this one is.
I'm not laid-back or tubby, and I love wrestling. Okay, so
I'm just telling you, you're looking for a kindred wrestling spirit, Dex.
Stop stereotyping. Okay, here's how Write That Down works. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. The season runs from Super Bowl to Super Bowl, so we're about, 2 months in, I guess, to this first chunk of the 2024 season. And then if you want to be a guest listener or participant, like Bob is about to be, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app. We'll get you scheduled here. We'll start with Judd. Congratulations. Your first touchdown pass of the season here. You said Stephon Diggs will not be with the Bills after the 2023 season.
Yeah, you know what? You could feel that coming, couldn't you? You could feel it coming.
You could, but it's still a touchdown because, he's a star receiver.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
It wasn't guaranteed. So
I think his act just definitely has a shelf life.
Yeah. Still on the board here. I thought about taking this one off, but you did specifically put end date of August 1st. You said Kirk Cousins will take out a full-page ad in the Star Tribune to thank fans once he signs somewhere else.
I should have known he was too cheap. I should have known.
Dude, he was too cheap to buy the jersey inventory from what's his name, Kyle Pitts,
which Diggs immediately did in Houston and paid what?
Did he?
I thought he
$100,000.
Oh, because he picked number 1, right? I thought he picked number 1.
I saw a story that said Diggs paid somebody on the Texans an exorbitant amount to buy the jersey number.
Well, you'd have to buy out whoever the jersey, the player on the team that you're taking. Like Kyle Pitts has number 8 for the Falcons. So if for Kyle Pitts to change numbers on the Falcons, it would cost him however much money to buy up all the current number 8 Falcons jerseys.
Yep.
Right.
Kirk Cousins, who's made $250 million playing football, was given the chance to buy out. I mean, he could have probably bought out the inventory on behalf of Kyle Pitts. He's like, no, I'll take a different number.
Yep, I'll take 18. But that's it. Like you have to then buy the jerseys, and Cousins wouldn't do it. So I should have known. Getting back to my point about this one, I should have known that he was too cheap to take out a full.
How much is a full page? I can tell you that an obituary is like $700 or something in the Star Tribune these days,
isn't it? I think ours was by the word when we did both of my parents. It was those things were not.
Yeah.
Those things are not.
Yes, they are. They are. I'm going to tell you right now, obituaries. An enterprising person, just move them online. Like, people don't buy the paper for the most part, right? Like, what are we doing paying that much?
But you still have to pay online. Like I think
you still gotta pay.
We've done a couple of them for parents in the last few years, and I'm pretty sure we drew the line at we don't need it to be in print necessarily, but we want it online, and they still hit you. I mean, it's part of their business model, man. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is let's start a competitor, a cheaper competitor,
an obit competitor.
Let's start a newspaper niche obituary company in 2024.
Papers went one of Paper's biggest problems was the listings in the Sunday paper, right? Like want ads and all of that. Well, companies got smart and said, hold on a second, we got websites, we don't need you, right? So obituaries, what I'm saying is let's cut the price in half. We'll offer up a Minnesota obituary site that you can go to every day and look at, and we'll cut you a break because the Star Tribune
I feel like but social media is taking the place of obituary. Obituaries are for people that are older than social media. You know, like it's for if you're old enough to where you wouldn't think to check the Facebook page of someone who passed away.
We're saying the same thing here.
You know,
we're saying really, the same thing. Quit paying the strip.
It's a dying business, really. So,
thank you.
Anyways, okay. On the other hand, I'm going to take a victory on a technicality here, I think, and we can get Lawyer Chase involved if needed. But I said Kirk Cousins will sign somewhere else as a parlay, and he will thank people in writing. He'll thank people. Oh, you know what though? This is going to be this is going to be tough for me, I think, as I look at this. Because I said thank people in writing with the Vikings, but he won't name Kwesi. So on his post on social media where he put a video out, he did write one sentence. And it says, thank you, Minnesota. Love Turner, Cooper, Julian, Kirk. I might be wrong on this in retrospect because in my haste, I thought it said, thank you, Minnesota Vikings.
You're right.
But it says, thank you, Minnesota. So he's not even thanking anyone with the Vikings.
Yeah, take that right off
the
board.
So I think this is going to be wrong for me.
Take that right off the board. I love how you got so excited that you just ignored the fact that it didn't say.
We moved the recording up earlier because Declan's covering day Twins games at Target Field, and so I was kind of flying through the prep. I'll be honest with you, I might have missed something in here.
Okay,
but I'm just going to go into the spreadsheet here and just going to take this one off the board here. Kirk Cousins will sign elsewhere. We'll mark that in red, and we're going to turn it into an L. Okay. Next page here. Over to the listeners. Nothing off the board, so let's highlight something still on the board. David said the Timberwolves will win a championship before the Vikings.
Well,
and when he said that, it was like before the season kind of thing, like early in the season. Well, they're playing for the 1 seed in the Western Conference pretty much tonight in Denver.
Right.
So this is like definitely in play here over the next 2 months. Definitely in play.
Certainly in the realm of possibilities, yeah.
It is I remember this, and when he made this prediction, I think I scoffed,
You're not scoffing anymore.
and now I'm not scoffing. Now I've been shut up a little bit. I like that.
And then Declan had one off the board here. He said Jason Kelsey would be involved in WrestleMania, getting in the ring and doing something. He did.
Thank you.
He threw Dominic Mysterio off the ring post, took his shirt off, jumped around a little bit.
Lane Johnson too, right?
Lane Johnson. Yep. So with that here, everyone's off to a pretty good start in 2024. Declan with a 50% completion percentage. I'm actually going to be closer to 40% here. Listeners at 40%, Judd at 33.3%, and then all of us have exactly one touchdown. Career stats, Declan 36.5%, Judd at 35%. I'm at 33.5%. Listeners just under 23%. And then I have the most touchdowns with 47. But you guys are catching up here. Declan with 42 touchdowns, listener with 40, and then Judd with 34. So there we go. There's your accountability session. Let's get Bob in here. On Write That Down. You got that classic Randy Moss mooning T-shirt, it looks like?
It was disgusting, I think is what he said.
A disgusting act.
Yep.
You know, he came on, for anyone that didn't hear, we had Joe Buck on Purple Daily, I don't know, a few months back, like in December. And we didn't even ask him about the Randy Moss mooning thing, but he kind of brought it up unprompted and said, it is probably the one mulligan I would like back in my 25 to 30 year career. I feel like he converted a lot of fans that day in Vikingsville. So if you haven't, go check that out on the YouTube channel. So Bob, what's your background as a Minnesota Vikings fan?
So I got a story from when I first remember the Vikings, and then I was a fan kind of later on in my fandom. So it goes to the 98 season, and I was probably 10, 11 years old over at a buddy's house. At that time, I owned a Niners starter jacket, one of the classics.
Nice.
Wasn't really much of a fan. I just followed the Niners because it was at the time. And my buddy, huge Vikings fan, and we're all over there watching the game. Right after Anderson missed the field goal, all of a sudden a different friend stands up and starts just shouting, "Oh my God, he missed it. He missed it." And the diehard Vikings fan went and pushed him. And I grew up in northern Iowa, right on the Minnesota border, and ended up pushing him right through his parents' bay window, like an 8x8 pane, middle of winter. All of a sudden, he's like, the Vikings just lost. All of a sudden, his sister comes out of his room, is like, "Oh my God, Dad's going to be so pissed." And Frank was pretty mad when he came home and saw that the window was smashed. The Vikings had lost. That's my earliest memory of the Vikings.
Wow, that's fairly traumatic on multiple fronts, man.
Yeah, for me, I just grabbed the landline, called Mom. "Hey, can you come pick me up? Fitz is going to be in some trouble."
You just are like, "I'm getting out of here, you guys.
Yeah.
See you in school. Bye."
Yep, school bikes.
You know, it's funny. Like, if this was a Patriots podcast and we were doing Write That Down every Wednesday and we were asking people, what's your background as a Patriots fan? They would just be choosing between like all these glorious moments, these celebratory. I can't remember if it was the third Super Bowl win or the second Super Bowl win, or was it the first Super Bowl appearance with, like, they'd be choosing between all these, and Vikings fans are choosing between 98, 09, people going through glass, like all these terrible.
This is the first moments. We have had a ton of stories about this game and that miss in particular. I think this is the first, like, and not necessarily on purpose, but the first like act of violence. You know, ordinarily it's like I went in my room and cried for 3 days, or, you know, but I mean, this is actually a window being taken out.
Yeah, I stabbed somebody in a blind rage after Gary Anderson missed. Oh my God.
Yep. He was pretty upset in the moment. And so then for where I actually became a fan was more in college. Went to UNI, lived with a bunch of Northern Iowa guys. And so naturally, just like they were all Vikings fans. You're basically picking Vikings or Green Bay. And started watching more Vikings game. And really like 06, 07 just started to become more of a fan. Then Favre comes in 08 and we ended up going to his first home game. So it was when he threw that touchdown to Greg Lewis, kind of darting across the back. And I was in that end zone on that, and I'm hugging random families and my friends and high-fiving. And I was actually at the Minneapolis Miracle game too, in that end zone with Diggs. So it was like the exact same feeling. And really once the Greg Lewis catch, the Brett Favre season, just hooked, and it was such a blast. And then, of course, it ends in heartache. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Now we're curious to see what the tone of your predictions are going to be. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to go Bob, Judd, Declan, back to me. We'll take 3 chips around the room. So, Bob, you are under center. What's your first prediction?
So the first one goes back to Jared Allen. So I call him the calf roping cowboy, the mullet, the man that's known for his culinary arts academy. This is going to be the year where he gets his gold jacket. He's going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Good. He
And so
deserves it.
what I seen online is, and you guys will have to correct me if I'm wrong. So he's been snubbed for 4 years. Is it only a 5-year window? And then if he doesn't get it this year, then he's out? Or
No, I don't think it's 5 years. That's baseball. And baseball was 10, but I want to say football, you have definitely more
longer
time.
shelf life?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, and I
a
think
much
too
different process. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen too that he's tied for 16th all time in NFL sacks. And I think everybody in front of him is in the Hall of Fame. That's the 1 through 15. So this is the year he's going to get it.
His speech
All
will
right.
be epic too.
Oh man,
I just want to hear his speech.
of course.
He'll be
Yeah,
great.
it's going to be amazing for sure.
Write this down.
All right, Judd.
All right. Start with a Twins. Write that down. I've been talking about this.
You will?
I've wanted it to happen.
Judd.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
A Twins, write that down. On
A Twins.
Purple
Write
Daily?
that down.
On Purple Daily.
This is Purple Daily. Daily Vikings
Oh,
Entertainment.
oh,
where
God, I
we just
knew I
want
was
the
gonna do
Vikings
this.
to win a
I
Super
knew
Bowl
I was
before
gonna-
we die.
I was looking at my write that down, Mackie and Judd knows. I'm not going to start with the Twins. Write that down then. I knew I would do that eventually because I put all the predictions together. At first, I thought I was muted. I was like, "Am I muted?" Okay.
We're good.
So
if
my
you make a
first-
Twins prediction, we'll mute you for sure.
My first Vikings, write that down. Jayden Daniels will be the Associated Press NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year for 2024.
Ooh, okay.
Jayden Daniels will win that award. I don't think he'll be the first pick, obviously, but I do think he has a chance to be the most successful of the rookie quarterbacks.
Interesting. Yeah, the whole, like, everything that Doogie was reporting yesterday on the scoop session was super interesting, in that he's clearly getting intel that the Jayden Daniels camp wants the Vikings to be more involved or more interested, that they haven't lined up a private workout with him. The Vikings have done private workouts with Drake May, with pretty much everyone except for Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. Is it a smokescreen, or do the Vikings just not think that Jayden Daniels is going to be available to them? It's weird that you would go all across the country from Chapel Hill to Eugene to Seattle.
Yep.
To Michigan, and that you wouldn't swing down and spend a few hours with Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I think something will work out as far as at least spending a day with him. That's my guess.
And I don't know if he can do what you just predicted with the Commanders or the Patriots. I think
Patriots,
he would need some better infrastructure.
no, the Patriots I don't like. The Commanders are a possibility, but if the Vikings were to trade up and get him, I love his chances.
Write this down.
Yeah. Okay, Dex.
All right, write this down. I'm going to steal kind of an idea that we had on Purple Daily on draft. Miles kind of talked about this. We were talking about trade-up ideas, and this was kicked around. So write this down. Between now and the end of night 1 of the draft, we will see 3 teams involved in one singular trade. Kind of like an NBA trade. Like, we're going to see 3 teams involved in one trade. Does that make sense?
It'll be like a 3-team trade all in one swoop. So it
All
can't
in
be
one transaction.
this happens and then like a little while later
Right.
this other thing
Nope.
happens.
So it'd be like the Vikings going up to 5, the Chargers going down to 10, and the Giants going to 8. Like, it'd be one singular trade. We'll know it. We'll know it when we see it.
Okay. Lawyer Chase.
Yeah,
we'll know
I was
it
going
when
to
we
say
see
this
it.
sounds really
If it's-
dangerous.
If it was like the Vikings and Chargers, and the Chargers moved back in, like, no, that wouldn't be it. This would be 3 teams involved in one singular transactional trade.
So we need Roger Goodell to say we have a trade, and then for 3 teams to be named in said trade.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Or
I think
Schefter.
that's
Why don't
Right.
3-team trades, easy for me to say, easier for me to say than for anyone to pull off, apparently, because they never happened in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
We see 3-team trades all the time in the NBA. You see like 4-team trades because you
base-
need salary cap pieces and
Baseball
fillers.
happens.
Baseball, you
hockey
do it with-
happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Declan's predicting this will be the first
We'll
time
see.
we've quite a while.
Okay.
Write this down.
Okay, write this down. I think there's only going to be one defensive player taken in the top 10 picks. So I'm going to say I'm looking for a touchdown pass here.
Exactly.
That I could see 0, by the way. If like I think the Falcons are probably leaning defense, but I could see them maybe trading out or something. I'm going to say in the first 10 picks, there will be exactly one defensive player taken in this year's draft. Write it down.
Okay.
And I would even put the or 0, but I don't know that is because a lot of the mocks have one. So I'm going to just be specific and say there'll be one.
Write this down.
Write it down. Okay, back to Bob for your second prediction.
So mine will probably bounce off of yours perfectly because is that one defensive player going to be Iowa great Cooper DeJean or?
I don't think it will be, but it wouldn't shock
Okay.
me if he's
Okay.
flirting with top 10. Yeah.
So I've got to do a Hawkeye to Vikings connection. So my next, write that down, is the Vikings will either draft Cooper DeJean or Torrey Taylor,
Oh.
and it wasn't a fair catch.
So Cooper DeJean would have to be. You hang on to your 2 first-round picks, most likely. You draft him, and then you draft like Bo Nix or Michael Penix.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like at 11, I've seen them mock to him, and then 23 we get Penix. But or if we do like a trade back and we try and get Penix in the 16, 17, 18 or something like that. But
Yeah.
and then Torrey Taylor just late. We need him.
In retrospect, the fair catch thing has become one of the funniest things of all time because both teams sucked.
Yeah.
I've never seen a battle of fan groups where it's like, okay, it was, okay, it wasn't.
Right.
Who cares? It was the Big Ten West. The game should have been played on a high school field in Alburnett.
Well, then Iowa fans were awfully vocal about that moving screen, right, in the game with UConn.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I tweeted though, that's worth butting heads about. That's a huge game, huge call.
Yeah, I
You
seen
know.
something where somebody's like, it wasn't a moving screen. Now sign is out there, just like it wasn't a fair catch. And
That's awesome.
Write it
I love
down.
it.
You like writing things down.
Okay, back to Judd for another Twins prediction here.
Yeah, no, I'm going Wolves this time. Aaron Jones will have 40 or more receptions in 2024.
Okay.
Now, just for context, Jones is very capable as a receiving running back, but Madison last year led the Vikings running backs with 30 catches. So 10 or more than that. I think he becomes part of the passing game.
Okay.
Trying to will
Declan?
that to happen.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, write this down. The Vikings will draft a kicker or punter. in this
Ah,
year's
you
draft.
sniper.
They will draft a kicker or punter, maybe Torrey Taylor. They will draft a kicker or punter in this year's draft. Write it down.
What was that? Was it the Chad Rudermock from NFL.com that had
Oh,
them
the fourth
taking
round?
a kicker in the 4th round with the 108th pick? So would their potentially their second pick in the draft would be a kicker in that scenario?
Yeah.
I
We'll see
think
about that.
Chad might have gotten into some good stuff right there before he made that
Chad.
prediction.
looks sauce.
Yeah,
Chad got-
Chadley.
Got into the kicker gummies or
Write
something.
it down. You like writing things down.
Okay, write this down. We will see. I don't know how to phrase this. I might need help from you guys here. So Tavondre Sweat was like, he got arrested for the DWI at like brunch on a Sunday 2 weeks before the draft, right? Not ideal. And he was definitely a highly touted prospect, 362 pounds, like big time prospect. He's going to fall. I think another big time prospect is going to get arrested, or there will be some other story that, like a gas mask type situation, right? So I'm trying to quantify this. That
Oh, this is
there will
slow.
either be an arrest or some sort of legal related story, and that's where we have to talk to Lawyer Chase because there's a little bit of gray area here, that comes out about a player that is
wow.
that is being mocked in the first 3 rounds by Chad Reuter, NFL.com. I'll use him because I know he has a 5-round mock out there. So
All right.
Here's where I say what you should do. You should probably take, instead of because mock drafting is completely subjective, you need to take a top 100 list of prospects.
okay.
You know how there's a big board of prospects on
PFF,
ESPN NFL?
so PFF top
50, 100. You can kind of set the bar
So-
there, but I don't think you can just say from mock drafts because that's completely random. But there are big board lists, so I would say a big board.
So
the
like
PFF big board. I'm finding it right now. Okay.
So let's
go
say
ahead, Judd.
let's say it's a player who is it comes out that he is dabbling in illegal substances, but they're illegal substances in certain states, but not in other states.
Right, but if
So
it's an illegal NFL substance or if it's illegal in your state, this is where it would be.
So you're
You
saying
are-
illegal, and so you're saying league. So you're
Okay.
saying the league specifications.
I'll frame it this way, because PFF has a top 150 list here. All right?
Okay. All right.
There will be a player on PFF's top 150 list that gets arrested or cited for some sort of
Okay.
illegal activity.
Okay, now
or
I'm-
reportedly was involved in illegal activity. Could also be it. All right.
Yep.
And if it's we'll know it when we see it, kind of thing.
Both of you guys are operating on very slippery slopes.
Before the end of the draft,
I'm
going
to get to my next Twins prediction. Okay.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Okay, we're back to Bob for his third and final prediction.
So my last one that I've got is the Vikings quarterbacks, whether it's Darnold or Penix or JJ McCarthy, will throw for more passing yards and touchdowns than Kirk O'Chains.
So the
Wow.
you're saying the collective.
Yep. So whoever just our quarterback stats for this next year will throw for more yards and touchdowns than Kirko. So I'm
Okay.
kind of thinking if Darnold plays first 6 weeks and then rookie comes in, or
Yeah.
if Darnold plays the entire year, or rookie starts the entire year.
Yeah, and we all kind of say it was I mean, Kirk threw for a lot of yards in 2018, but there were some really rocky moments for him, late in games and stuff. So it might not be a smooth transition to the Falcons, but
He's normally known for his pat statting, so it'll be interesting to see how we fare on that one. But
All the Kirk hate. I will not stand for this. I will not stand for you bashing a guy who gave so much to the purple.
I out of my group of friends have always been a proponent of Kirk, and then it just over the last couple of years I've seen that the money and the Mr. Business side of it has hurt me, and when he first signed and it was $93 million and they were throwing it at us and you're not going to be able to build a team, and I thought he was Mr. Business, able to get us over the hump. He was a professional, and he just gave us.
he's
one
definitely
step.
Mr. Business. He's definitely Mr. Business.
Yeah.
In terms of getting over the hump, that remains to be seen. So, Bob, great stuff here. We loved your story about the 1998 traumatic experience. Since you've got this life-changing platform here on Purple Daily, is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped you get here today?
Really just my Algona buddies. They're the ones that kind of pulled me into the Vikings. I've got, my wife and her patience with me on Sundays and the yelling at the TV. Want to apologize to my two boys. They are already wearing their Vikings purple and they don't even know any better, and they don't know really what's going to come. But
This is how it starts.
this is how it starts, boys.
This is how it starts. Tell them to stay away from the bay windows, Bob.
Will do.
Awesome stuff, Bob. Good luck with
Thanks,
your
Bob.
predictions, and we'll see you again sometime. All right?
Thank you.
There he is. Guest listener, predictor, Bob here, boys. Before we make our final predictions and get into Mel Kiper Jr.'s 4.0, the godfather of mock, has spoken this morning. A shout out to our friends at Nicolay Law, the official exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. Nicolay Law, proud to serve the Twin Cities community. You've seen a couple billboards around town, no doubt. They're just your normal, everyday folks from the Twin Cities, the ones you see at the gas station walking the dog. They're normal folks who happen to have law degrees. And when an unexpected accident occurs, you give them a call. You know you're working with people who truly understand your situation, where you're coming from, and how they can help you. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay, 1-855-NICOLAY or nicolaylaw.com. Dex, tell these people, these fine listeners of Purple Daily, if they're looking to clean up their dock areas, their lakeside areas for cabin season, who should they turn to?
Oh, wow, we're getting teased. We got like 70 degrees coming this weekend. Summer's knocking on the door. And, you know, if you're thinking about getting that dock in and then you put a first step into that water and you realize, oh, my God, what am I stepping on? What is that? What weed, what algae is that? Well, your friends at Aquaside and our friends at Aquaside can help you diagnose what the heck's going on in that lake. They have Aquaside pellets. They can help you get rid of that stuff. They'll help you even diagnose what's going on. And their products are safe with the EPA and DNR. So these aren't some willy-nilly products that are hurting the environment by any means. These are good registered products. You can go to aquaside.com. Shipping is free. Go to aquaside.com to learn more.
Okay, boys.
Write this down.
Judd, what's your final prediction?
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, I'm going to go to the bin of ex-Vikings and give you this one. KJ Osborne will lead the Patriots in receptions and receiving yards this season. So I was looking at their depth chart. Obviously not super impressive. I think he's a solid player. Like, I mean, he's not great, but he's solid. But he's the type of guy who's going to step on to a team that probably is just going to suck and put up some stats. So receptions and receiving yards, Declan.
I feel like that's bad news for Drake May. If the draft plays out to where the Patriots take him.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right bleeping now, as a veteran of this league, we are right. They should not take a quarterback.
At least they should have I don't know, maybe they should find a way to accumulate another first round pick or something. Maybe they can get the 11 and the 23 and they can take a quarterback later in the first round and something else.
And get as much as you can and build out a roster.
Yeah.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Just me.
All right, Dex.
All right, UFL parlay coming at you here.
Let's go.
3-game parlay. The Brahmas beat the Battlehawks. The Stallions beat the Showboats. And the Panthers beat the Roughnecks. 3-item parlay in the UFL. Brahmas over Battlehawks. Stallions over Showboats. Panthers over Roughnecks.
Okay.
First of all, the Battlehawks are really pretty good.
And
So
their attendance is very strong in St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah, they draw. It's incredible
I
now.
would actually say the Brahmas and Stallions are the ones I feel good about. They're 2-0. They're scoring points. I'm actually pretty confident in those ones. The Panthers and Roughnecks, I don't know.
Why are you crapping on Case Cookus?
I'm not crapping on Case Cookus. I'm applauding the great effort by the Brahmas and the Stallions in the first 2 weeks of the UFL. I just think they're too much for the Battlehawks and Showboats to handle.
The Brahmas, by the way, a lot of sports books had them at the bottom of the barrel going into the season for championship odds, and now look at them. You know, just goes to show you. The Brahmas?
Yeah.
Bob.
Who coached the Brahmas?
Bill.
He's coach of the year.
Naga.
Write this down.
Not going to work in the NFL anymore. Huh? Okay. Write this down. Wade Phillips?
Wade Phillips coaches the Brahmas.
Hold on a second. I see
Wade
a perfect
Phillips.
transition for a guy who might have had a little trouble in mini.
Wade, yeah.
I knew he
the
coached in
Phillips
the
family
UFL.
can just be coaching.
The
I knew
Brahmas.
Wade was coaching. I didn't know it was the Brahmas, though. Interesting.
See?
Dude, there was a time where I feel like there was a campaign where we were trying to get Wade Phillips to be the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, right?
We were.
We were like tweeting with him. I was DMing with him at one
He has
point.
me blocked on Twitter.
And I'm blocked on
What?
Twitter. Hold on a
He
second.
You
blocks
both
everyone.
blocked by Wade
I did
Phillips?
nothing. I did nothing.
He goes through and blocks.
Yeah.
It's a
What?
very weird thing. Yep.
Yep.
See here you
Same with
here
me,
you
yeah,
can see it.
But you must have said something to him.
Nope.
No, I
Nope.
have no another one. I'm dead serious. I like some
Yeah,
of the
he-
blocks I earn.
He follows me. He follows me.
He's blocked a ton of people, including me.
he's
He's
following-
Brewster like.
He's following 818 people. He has 185,000 followers. Apparently, I am one of them. But we did DM at one point, and I think I was asking him like, do you need me to pick you up at the airport to be the Vikings defensive coordinator or what?
Incredible.
I don't even remember. What would it have been under Zimmer? I'm trying to think of when that would have been. I don't know.
Matthew Berry from ESPN also has me blocked. I have no receipt either. I have no receipt. Zero receipt. I don't know what I did. I quit playing fantasy football and he blocked me.
Matthew
So
Berry.
anytime I see the tweets on Sunday Night Football, because now he's on ESPN or on NBC.
NBC, yeah.
Yep.
So anytime I see tweets, I said, you can't see this tweet because I'm blocked by Matthew Berry. I don't know what I did. Matthew, what the hell? I quit playing fantasy football and you just block a guy? What? I don't understand what
amazing.
happened.
No, I'm
Come on.
Judd's
still
blocked
good.
by a lot of people. He's blocked by
That's-
Adrian Peterson,
Cordell
Cordell
Patterson.
Patterson.
That makes sense.
Alex Meyer blocked me years ago, the former Twin.
Sam Ponder is probably the only one I can. Sam Ponder blocked me, not because I tweeted at her, because I was slandering her husband as a quarterback, and she had like a feed pulled up of anyone talking about Christian Ponder and just started blocking people.
Sam and I are good, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, me too.
Well, let me know if she tweets
Write
anything
this down.
interesting or not. Okay, write this down. The Vikings will find time to meet with Jayden Daniels before the draft. It will be reported, maybe by our Darren Doogie Wolfson, that the Vikings will complete their tour around the entire country, and they will meet in person with Jayden Daniels at some point in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Write it down. I don't know why you wouldn't. So
Write this down.
I think, and even just for smokescreen purposes, you might as well meet with everyone so no one knows what you're going to do. It's almost too obvious if you love Jayden Daniels and now you're like ignoring him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From what Doogie said on the scoop yesterday, I took it as more of a timing thing than like
What does that even? But I'm not criticizing Doogie. A timing thing. Like you've had 3 months to meet face to face with him.
But I think they've done them all since March, so it's probably just. I mean, I guess I think you might be right. I think it's going to work out. And so, like, if this is their process, which I actually like a lot, you wouldn't trim a guy from that process on purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All right, we got like 10 or 15 minutes left here, so let's get into Mel Kiper 4.0, the godfather of mock. And for the first time, we have trades in a Mel Kiper mock.
Mel.
That's right.
Legend.
And before we dive into this here, just a shout out to a couple of our draft party partners who've jumped on board to help support this, what we think is going to be an amazing event at the Fillmore on Thursday, April 25th. We've partnered with Fulton Brewing. Fulton Brewing welcoming Minnesota Vikings fans looking to pregame before the sold-out Purple Daily Draft Party, literally like right across the street. It's like a block down from the Fillmore. So stop in the North Loop. There's a tap room located, again, just steps from the Fillmore between 3 and 7 p.m. Maybe you get primed with some Lonely Blonde, a 300 IPA before the Vikings select their fifth first-round quarterback in just 63 years. They've been trying to draft quarterbacks outside the top 10. Maybe they'll try inside the top 10. But Fulton Brewing welcoming Vikings fans for the sold-out Purple Daily Draft Party pregame. We're going to be inside the Fillmore in the hours leading up, hanging out with VIPs, but we do ask that you stop at Fulton to at least grab a pint before you stop in. And also, our friends at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply are going to be, we're literally going to have a hot takes desk on the stage at the Fillmore, presented by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. So thank you to them as well. Okay, Mel Kiper Jr. 4.0. He has the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams, the Commanders taking Jayden Daniels, the Patriots taking Drake May. So he's got chalk all the way through. And then he has the Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr. So more chalk. And then he has a trade where the Vikings call up the Chargers and offer the 11, the 23, and a first-round pick in 2025 to get up to the 5th overall pick. A lot of these trade iterations have been, to 5 anyways, have been not giving up your 2025 first-round pick. In this case, they do, and the Vikings take J.J. McCarthy.
I want a mock. I want you.
Here's the write-up, and then you guys can react. At this point in the process, based on everything I've heard, I don't think the Vikings can afford to wait until 11 if they want one of the top 4 quarterbacks. They're going to have to trade up. Are they giving up too much here? It's certainly possible. But if they believe McCarthy can be their long-term Cousins replacement, shouldn't they be okay with sending their 2025 first-rounder? I have McCarthy at 14 on my big board, but I can see on tape why a team might take him in the top 5. He has intriguing traits, and the Vikings have great weapons for him to throw to. But they'd be giving up, again, 3 first-round picks to get there.
So this is probably a very plausible scenario if the 4 picks that Mel just went through stay with the original or the teams that hold them now, right? Because if you get to the Chargers and you're through the Cardinals and the Cardinals say we're standing pat, now who's on the horn with the Chargers? Denver's on the horn with them, the Raiders perhaps, the Vikings for sure. So while this seems like a lot, and there are definitely, we've seen some proposed trades between the Vikings and Chargers that would not include the 2025 first round. If it's draft night, I think this is pretty spot on, because here's the question. If you love McCarthy, and this comes back to the discussion that we basically had for the last 2 weeks. If you love JJ McCarthy and you see him as clearly like the guy left, and now Denver's like, oh yeah, no, we do as well.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to beat out the Broncos, which also gets back to the question of how do the Vikings really feel about Penix? Like that's the other question. Because if McCarthy and Penix are really, really close, you wouldn't make this trade. But if they're not, you probably are going to be forced to make a trade that is going to keep you up nights.
The Todd father was on the Ryan Russillo podcast earlier this week, and he talked about how I sent you guys some of these quotes. He talked about how if Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels are tier 1 quarterbacks, like what he's hearing is Jayden Daniels will go 2. Like he's the second best quarterback in the draft, not named Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams will obviously go 1. Do the Vikings really want to mortgage so many future assets for trading up for a tier 3 type of quarterback? And he doesn't know if that's necessarily the wisest move. Obviously, they have a big need for QB. They acquired a second first round pick to probably move up, but do you have to give up next year's first, and do you want to give up next year's first for trading up to maybe a tier 3 or tier 4 quarterback?
But like when you say tiers, are you saying like where they rank, or what does tier 3 mean?
Like there is a huge gap between McCarthy and May to Daniels and Caleb Williams.
So okay.
It's if you'd be reaching, you'd be giving up future assets for at a position where yes, it's important to you, but that wouldn't be the wisest move to do because it's like a tier 3 option in terms of that position group.
And this is where like, okay, Todd McShay can have his opinion, but if Kevin O'Connell thinks that JJ McCarthy is the second best quarterback in this draft and you have a chance to get him at 5, you should go get him. But to Judd's point, if they have McCarthy and Penix pretty close, and I don't know what they think of Bo Nix. They went to Eugene, but they could have those guys. We don't know what the gaps and the tiers look like on the Vikings board.
Right.
But it would be if there's a sizable gap between JJ McCarthy and every other quarterback that's left, you should probably go up and get him.
Yeah.
If there's not a sizable gap, it would be extremely foolish to give up your 2025 first round pick when you could just sit back and take a Michael Penix later on. But that's the thing. We don't know what those tiers look like on the Vikings War Room whiteboard, right?
Right. Well, and I think we're right in that McCarthy is well liked. The guy that I don't know is Penix. Like he is all over boards. First rounder, relative, potentially near the top 10. No, he's a second rounder.
Yeah.
No, his knees are going to explode. Like that's what introduces such a conundrum here.
The knee thing too, is it like a 5-year problem or is it more of a 10 or 12-year problem? That's the other thing we don't really know with Michael Penix. Because if it's like a 10-year problem, I don't know, can you project anything 10 years from now? If you think his knees are going to be fine for the next 5 or 6 years.
Right, but
I don't know if it matters as much.
But if you're concerned that the surgeries and the wear and tear after 3 years are going to start to take a toll, yes, that's a problem. No, you're right.
The rest of just to fly through some of this here. So they got the Giants then taking, this is Mel Kiper. Malik Neighbor is wide receiver, LSU at 6. Joe Alt to the Titans. Falcons take Dallas Turner. Bears take Rome Odunze. So they wind up with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. And then Brock Bowers. I'm looking for quarterbacks here. I think he's got the other 2 guys in the second round. I think Penix and Bo Nix are second round.
I found Penix in this. Keep going.
So we've got, second round. We've got the Giants trading up to 33 to take Bo Nix as the first quarterback in the second round. And then he has the Rams trading up to 36 to take Michael Penix. Penix to the Rams is really interesting.
Yes,
Sit behind Stafford for a year.
Yeah,
yes, it is. I also think that the Rams are a really good dark horse to take one.
Agreed.
I mean, Stafford's not a young guy.
Right.
And can you imagine like what would if McVay gets a guy like Penix and gets just a year to teach him? That's a really interesting. I think the Rams are probably slept on as far as their plan there, because Stafford's got a couple of years left, maybe.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Stafford just kind of feels banged up too. He's been in the league for a long time. He's had some back issues,
and they won a Super Bowl. So
you want to.
He's
it
golden.
feels like you if you hung it up after this year, no one would be shocked.
Yeah. All right, there you go. There's your Mel Kiper, the Godfather, the Mock Father, with his 4.0 with trades. We've got Thursday on deck tomorrow. We've got Feedback Friday. And we are now just 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, the Purple Daily Draft Party, third annual at the Fillmore. We are fired up. Just a shout out to our friends at Federated Insurance, helping to power this podcast. If you're a business owner out there, make sure you've got a game plan in place to stay focused on safety and preventing claims by letting their team help your business. Federated. They've been around for over 100 years. They offer customizable lineups of industry-specific coverages and risk management services to help you continue your winning streak as a business owner. At Federated Mutual Insurance Company, it's our business to protect yours. Find out more at federatedinsurance.com. If you want Judd's Twins predictions, you can find them on the
I got one.
OG edition.
I got one. It's so important. I tried to put it on PD. Damn it.
This has been Write That Down on Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.